welcome back to Trista's Reading Room. Today we are looking at Road Trip Rescue by Becca Wierwille. And this was published October 24th, 2023. 12-year-old Kimmy trusts dogs more than people. After all, her dog Bo never made fun of her for having one hand. But 2 years ago, Bo disappeared. When Kimmy stumbles across a magazine photo of a dog in upstate New York that looks just like Bo, she knows she has to find him. Her parents seem oddly unsupportive, but pink-haired, adventure-hungry Aunt Skylar agrees to a road trip with a stop in the Adirondacks. Kimmy jumps at the chance to bring her furry family member home. Unfortunately, Aunt Skylar's idea of a road trip isn't the rescue mission Kimmy had in mind. This is book 1 of the Road Trip Rescue series. It is for ages 8 to 12 and there are no content warnings. You can find the books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, bookshop.org, and basically wherever you buy books online. It's available in paperback, hardback, ebook, and audiobook. Here's a bit about the author. Becca Wierwille writes stories to show kids they are wonderfully created for the unique adventures in their lives. Born with only half of her right arm, she aims to help others find beauty in what makes them extraordinary. Mom by day and novelist by relatively early in the morning, she wishes she could eat peach pie as often as most writers drink coffee. Despite her dreams of sandy beaches and mountain peaks, she loves living in Pennsylvania with her family. Road Trip Rescue is Becca's debut novel. Becca is one of those writers who has always loved words, ever since she started learning her alphabet. Some of her earliest storytelling memories include scribbling stories about talking teddy bears and islands made of candy in a purple notebook, and creating stories to turn into movies with her friends. She fell in love with words at a very young age, and she has been writing ever since. Fun facts. Becca can unicycle, or at least she could at one point. She hasn't tried since college. She has roasted marshmallows on top of a volcano. She loves spending time in God's creation. The more, the better. Peach pie is her all-time favorite food. She was born with one hand. This is the inspiration for her book. My first inspiration for Road Trip Rescue came when my family was planning a trip to the Adirondack Mountains in New York. I was researching online for things to do while we were there and found a photo of a dog eating ice cream. The photo sparked a question in my mind. What if a girl saw this photo and was convinced it was a dog she lost years ago? What if she loved this dog more than anything and was willing to do whatever it took to bring her home? From there, the idea grew. Also, the main character in Road Trip Rescue is one hand, which is something we have in common. So my own experiences inspired some of hers in that way. You can find Becca on her social medias and on her website, and you can also sign up for her newsletter. Chapter 1. It all started on the toilet. I'm not even trying to be funny when I say my life changed on the toilet. I sat in the bathroom flipping through a magazine because the moment I stopped reading, my chores would bury me like a mountain of mud. Outdoor Adventure was the magazine. The issue might have covered East Coast hiking destinations, or the best summer campgrounds, or something like that. I didn't read the magazine so much as skim for pictures and silly ads. I'd cut those out and tape them to my bedroom door for when I needed a good laugh. Sure, I would have liked to scroll on my phone like other kids my age, but thanks to Mom and Dad's no phone until you're 13 rule, that wasn't an option. The roar of the vacuum cleaner filled the hallway. Mom always cleaned before we had company. I didn't know why she worried about it. It was only Aunt Skylar coming for dinner tomorrow. She came every week, and no way she cared if the house was messy. The vacuum stopped. Mom tapped the door. You almost done in there? I've got to clean that bathroom, and you haven't finished folding the laundry. I frowned. Folding laundry topped the list of my least favorite chores. I once tried to convince Mom folding laundry was impossible with one hand, but she didn't buy it. Especially since I'd only ever had half of my right arm, and had learned to do everything with my left from the time I was born. Kimmy? Mom asked. Be out in a minute. Her footsteps hustled away. I flipped the page, and my jaw dropped almost to the tile floor. I was staring at a picture of Bo. It couldn't be him. My dog had been gone for 2 years, disappeared without a trace. Our neighbors had helped us search. When we still couldn't find him, even Dad cried. But when I looked at that photo in the magazine, I knew it had to be him. Long golden hair, 4 big white paws, a white spot on his forehead, black fur outlining his bright blue eyes like doggy eyeliner, a beautiful golden retriever and Aussie mix. In the photo, he was devouring an ice cream cone with a big smile on his furry face. "Mom!" I barged out of the bathroom, my shorts barely pulled up to my waist, and not taking the full 20 seconds to wash my hand. I stopped by my room and grabbed the framed photo of Bo from beside my bed. He and I used to play together in the creek behind the farm, and this picture captured one of those memories. My glance darted from the magazine to the creek photo. It was the same dog. Same blue eyes, same white spot on his forehead. No one could deny it. "Dad!" I dashed down the stairs and into the kitchen. "Bo's still alive!" Mom stood on her tiptoes on the counter, reaching a feather duster into the corners of the ceiling like a house-cleaning ballerina. She turned. "Your dad's out with the cows. What is it?" "Look!" I held up the issue of Outdoor Adventure, then tucked it under my little arm, the arm that stopped just below my elbow, and tried climbing onto the counter to give her a closer view. "Not a good idea. I'll come to you." Mom lowered her duster and hopped down. "You know, honey, these travel magazines are more up Skylar's alley. Maybe you should show it to her tomorrow." I shook my head. "No, look!" I held out the picture of Bo. I could almost see his tail wagging so hard his whole butt wiggled, and his lips rising in a snarl, which was how he smiled. He'd only had ice cream once when he lived with us. The top scoop of vanilla that had toppled from my cone, and I'd let him have it. But he loved it. Of course he'd been smiling. At first, Mom was quiet. I chewed on a strand of my hair while I waited for her response. Slowly, she raised her hand to her mouth. "Oh my. It's Bo! It has to be! We always said he was one of a kind, and look!" I put the creek photo on top of the magazine so she could see them together. "Right here it says where the photo was taken. Lake Ridgeford, New York. That's only 1 state away, Mom! He's so close!" Mom's hand moved from her mouth to her heart. "So when can we get him and bring him home?" Mom smoothed her t-shirt and cleared her throat. She acted like she was preparing to meet with one of her real estate clients, which wasn't a good thing. "Dogs look alike. Just because this dog looks like Bo doesn't mean it's him." She kept her voice steady, but her words made me want to scream. "A photo isn't much to go on." I scanned the caption beneath the picture. "A 2-year resident of Lake Ridgeford enjoys a sweet treat at Ella's Creamery." 2 years. Bo had been gone for 2 years. That couldn't be a coincidence. God must have put this magazine in front of me for a reason. I shoved the magazine under Mom's nose. "Look, Mom, this dog has been in Lake Ridgeford for the same amount of time since Bo disappeared." She paused. "Maybe we can try calling the ice cream shop. Ella's. See if they know anything." "Can I borrow your phone?" Mom nodded, but she made no move to hand over her cell phone. "It's probably not him, Kimmy." She rubbed her throat, something she only did when she was nervous. "And if it was, he'd have a new family by now." How could she say something like that? We were his family. I rolled up the magazine, tucked it under my arm, and held out my hand. "Your phone, please?" She dropped her cell phone into my open palm. Before Mom could say another word, I bolted out the front door. I walked down the path toward the dairy barn with her phone propped against my little arm. The number for Ella's Creamery appeared on the screen after a few taps. "Whew, here goes nothing," I whispered. The phone rang. After about 10 rings, someone answered. "Ella's Creamery, can I help you?" The voice belonged to a boy, likely a few years older than me. "Hi, I have a question about a photo of your shop I found in a magazine." My voice trembled. "It's a picture of a dog. I wanted to know where it came from. He's not just any dog, he—" "Listen, I just work the counter," the boy said. "And I'm really busy. Can you call back later when Ella's here?" I didn't want to call later. I wanted answers now. Nerves tightened in my stomach. "But I'm just trying to find out, were you working when the magazine took the picture of the shop?" "I don't know what you're talking about, but I gotta go. I have customers," he said. "Try calling later. Ella might be able to help." "Okay, thanks." "Yep, bye." He dropped the phone, but must not have hung it up properly. because sounds from Ella's creamery still came through Mom's cell phone. Chatter and laughter, but no words. I ended the call with a sigh. Time to talk to Dad. He'd understand. He loved Bo almost as much as I did. Chapter 2. Who says he wasn't dog-napped? Bo was only about 5 years old when he vanished, but I'd never forget the 5 years we had with him. He showed up in our farm field one day, chewing a moldy corn cob with sharp puppy teeth. He looked a little goofy with his oversized white paws and long floppy ears. But I was a kindergartner with a crossbite and a missing front tooth, so I was a little goofy too. We got along well. We tried to find Bo's family. He had no collar or tag, and despite the flyers Dad hung in town and the posts Mom put on social media, no one called to claim him. Soon, I gave him a name. I named Dad's dairy cows after Bible characters, so I named Bo after Boaz, Ruth's husband, who's basically the Prince Charming of the Bible. After Bo disappeared, Mom had asked if I wanted another dog. One of my realtor friends is a chocolate lab who's due to have puppies any day now. He offered to sell one to us if we're interested. Dad had pulled me to his side, like he knew another dog wouldn't fill that Bo-sized hole in my heart. Dad always knew those things. I closed my eyes and pictured a new puppy with oversized paws, floppy ears, and sharp teeth. Would he snarl like Bo when he was excited? Or swim with me in the creek? Or hook his paw around my little arm when he wanted to play? I shook my head. No, I want Bo. Mom sighed. Honey, Bo's a great dog, Dad finished. We'll never forget him, and should he make a miraculous reappearance, he'll always have a home here. He'll always have a home here. Those are the words I wanted to paint on a sign and parade above my head when I found Dad finishing up his second round of milking for the day. Dad ran his palms beneath the outdoor faucet, humming to himself in that jolly way of his. I cleared my throat. Mom's not-so-enthusiastic reaction had sucked some of the joy out of me, but we'd waited 2 years for this miracle. Hey, Dad? Hey, Kimmy. He looked at the magazine under my arm and dried his hands on his manure-stained pants. What have you got there? I thrust the magazine at him. I found him! Found who? Just look! Dad's eyes widened until they were round as cow pies. He whistled. Looks just like him. It is him. I rubbed my sweating palm against my athletic shorts. We always said how unique he was, remember? And this dog has the same markings, the same eyes, the same everything. Before he could respond like Mom about how dogs often look similar, I recited the caption from memory. Did you catch that? 2 years. That's how long it's been since Bo disappeared. It's gotta be him. Dad returned the magazine to me, his expression shifting from surprised to gloomy. My shoulders drooped. Like Mom, he didn't believe it. No one would take me to Lake Ridgeford to get Bo. But Bo wasn't just a dog. He was part of our family. And when my former BFF abandoned me, he loved me better than anyone. I thought Jada and I were closer than sisters. But in 5th grade, I caught her laughing with the popular girls about my arm. The memory still ached. My heart had broken. But it might have shattered into a billion pieces if Bo hadn't put his chin on my knee and let me hold him until I stopped crying. Sure, I had other friends. Kind of. Claire Owens told me not to pay attention to those other girls, but she also spent most of her time spreading gossip like a newscaster, which I thought was a little ironic. And Amanda Rhodes always wanted me to draw a face on my little arm, like I had in kindergarten. She said I was one of the funniest people she'd ever met. Still, it wasn't the same. Bo never talked about Jada or my arm or any of it. He was just there for me. Not long after I lost Jada, Bo disappeared. I thought he was gone forever. But now I knew he wasn't, and I needed to bring him home. This can't be Bo. Eating ice cream in New York? I miss him too, sweetheart, but he's gone. But it makes sense. The timing checks out. What if the Mitchells forgot to feed him and he wandered off looking for food? We were away the week Bo disappeared. The neighbors were supposed to feed him when they came to take care of the cows, but maybe they forgot. Truthfully, I'd never found the Mitchells all that responsible. They never locked their front door, and one night they forgot to even close it. The raccoons had appreciated the invitation to come inside and ransack their cupboards. Or what if someone stole him? He's a beautiful dog, so fun and sweet. Of course someone would have wanted to take him. Kimmy, who says he wasn't dognapped by someone who lives in New York? Why are you and Mom acting like that's impossible? Dad tried to pull me close against his manured overalls. I stepped back. I didn't want cow poop on my white shirt, and I sure didn't want a hug, not with him set on discouraging me. Lake Ridgeford isn't just over the Pennsylvania border. It's up in the Adirondacks, Dad said, apparently not remembering the promise he'd made about Bo always having a home here. It would take at least half a day to get there, and then what would we do? My shoulders slumped. Maybe visit the ice cream shop? Ella's Creamery, that's the name of it, and ask when they last saw him? I tried to make my voice sound confident. I found their number and called, but the guy told me to call back later. If they don't know anything, I could show Bo's picture around town and ask if anyone's seen him. Dad sighed. He didn't normally sigh. That was more Mom's thing. How about this? If you can reach that ice cream shop and get a real lead or proof that this is Bo, I'll try to find someone to take care of the cows for a day so I can take you. He bowed his head. I'm sorry. I wish we could hop in the car and go, but you know how things are at the farm, and I don't see how that could really be him. I don't want to get your hopes up. My face flushed. I had all the proof I needed. I wanted to argue until either my voice lost its strength or Dad dropped everything and took me to New York. But a dairy farmer couldn't drop everything. Finding neighbors, especially responsible ones, to milk the cows twice a day and fork out the stalls wasn't easy. Not the most pleasant task unless you enjoyed blisters on your palms and the smell of cow poop burning your nose hairs. And Mom had always made it clear her place was not in the dairy barn. I turned away. Mom and Dad might not believe this dog could be Bo, but I believed. If there was a way to bring Bo home, I'd find it. And that's it for Road Trip Rescue today. If you want to read more, be sure to check out the book online and give Becca a follow. Thanks for joining me today.